Alrighty, potentially our finals. There are 3 players who have not lost a game yet, as seems to be the case for the majority of these tournaments. I don't know how that always happens, but we have Apooche versus HawkInSpace. Both players do stream quite regularly. Recommend you go check out their streams. Let's see who can take home the bacon. A big thing for players who have played the game for a very long time. They tend to sit on the screen for a while and really think about it, which, you know, if you're playing basically chess with robots, you might want to think about which robots you start with. Interesting. HawkInSpace did pick up the Tarantulas and Marksmen with a Farseer specialist. Apooche coming in here with the Typhoons and a whole bunch of wave clear in the form of Arclarts and Sledgehammers. Neither player has chaff units. Neither player, I'd be surprised if either player actually picks up a unit of chaff. Possibly Fang for both players. I mean, I guess they could go with crawlers. I don't really think crawlers would be a great choice for either of them, just because they have such a slow-moving army at this point. Very, very interesting. It looks like Apooche is going to go with the crawlers in the early game. I wonder if he's going to try for an early game push. No, it looks like he's setting up in the back. HawkInSpace kind of mirrors my thoughts that he already has a fairly slow army. So perhaps having the extra entities of the Fang might be more useful. Crawlers only come in groups of, what is this, like 16? I don't think it's actually listed here. 24. Whereas Fang come in 18. I was wrong. There are more crawlers than Fang. The more you know. It does look like Apooche is setting up for a more aggressive start. That makes sense, given that he picked up the crawlers. They will seriously outpace his army with that positioning, but he might be thinking about putting something in front of those sledgehammers just to give them a bit more options. Given that HawkInSpace has a very slow army, Apooche won't have to worry about this tower at all. He even has an arc light there just to guard it. But these little crawlers are all going to sacrifice their lives for basically nothing. And there's nothing really here that can deal with this tarantula, giving the snipers more than enough time to get in here and deal with the tanks. Will it be enough? I mean, eventually this line will get through and onto the towers, but here comes another tarantula. This sniper will get destroyed, maybe. I don't think the sniper's going to take a hit. Okay, GG. Well done. I think those Fang were the right choice. And the Marksman, of course. Excellent pickup. Apooche is in a bit of a rough spot. He needs something that could follow those crawlers in to make use of their dying. Right now, those crawlers are all dying for nothing. Ooh, Elite Mustang, level 3 Mustang. That's awesome. Not very useful at this stage of the game. They're just too expensive. But level 3 Mustang are very powerful units. Redeployment could be powerful here for HawkInSpace if you wanted to bring that other tarantula over. And it's nice that you can redeploy the unit every single round. Apooche does pick up the redeployment and instead moves some sledgehammers onto the flank. Okay. Cool. I like it. HawkInSpace skipped. He can use the extra $50. What is he going to use it on, though? Maybe another... Oh. I was going to say, maybe another 2 units of Fang, but instead going with some Stormcallers. He's realized that this is a very aggressive push. So instead, it's going to defend it with some long-ranged artillery. Wow, that is a lot of crawlers. There's not enough wave clear on the field here to deal with this many crawlers. The tarantula will get overwhelmed. I just don't think that there's enough here to actually deal with the tarantula damage-wise. It will get surrounded, but with the Stormcaller support, it should be able to clear that off fairly quickly. Maybe a unit of... Fang here and another tarantula. These tarantula, if they had the spider mine, I know we've talked about the spider mine a couple of times in the tournament, okay? I like the spider mines. It's just cool to me. But they could work very well. Stormcallers are going to pick off the back line of those crawlers quite quickly. And now here comes the rest of the reinforcements. Is it going to do anything? Is the question. Potentially. Next round of Stormcallers, still getting a good amount of hits in there, clearing off basically half a unit. There's the next wave. Ooh, is it going to be enough? Yes, it is. This marksman was able to deal with the arc light, just put a little bit of anger into that. Tower drops, but it's going to be too little too late, as the Stormcallers have great range on the sledgehammers, and the tarantula is able to absorb a ton of damage. Apooche's lost these rounds, but not by well, actually by a considerable amount because of the Tarantula survival. And now with those 2 units of Stormcallers, that's pretty rough. Oh my. 3 units of Fire Badgers here for HawkInSpace would be great, or just a singular Vulcan. 1 Vulcan could burn away the vast majority of Apooche's army. These both feel kind of mean. Scorpion could be good, actually, for Apooche, though. Just to have them going in there and plugging away some damage while the rest of his army tries to catch up. I don't love the fortress here for either player. I don't think it serves a very good purpose. Apooche seems to think so, though. You know, in my head, I thought, what does the fortress do? There's no reason for them to pick it up. And then, of course, he goes ahead and picks up the fortress. But yeah, these Fire Badgers are going to do great. They're going to be able to rip through the majority of these units without really much to worry about. Honestly, you could sell 1 and just keep 2. That would be more than enough for now. With this Farseer in support, Fortress is going to get hammered by Stormcallers. I don't think that's going to end very well for him. Field recovery on what? Oh, Fire Badgers in the back line. Okay, just to put some pressure on. Yeah, he didn't need both in this area, so I like that. Either sell them or move on. Even upgrading these marksmen to level 2. Okay. Okay. Down goes the Arclight. No reason to have it there. Instead, we're seeing more Crawlers and Fang. Where are these Crawlers going? On this opposite flank? Nope. Looks like they're just joining this army. This very, very front-forward army. Marksmen and Crawlers. Marksmen and Crawlers. Good pickup here with these Sledgehammers. Able to divert a ton of that damage. Oh, but one of them still gets online and starts dealing with all those Crawlers. Really, it only takes 1 or 2 of these guys to start shooting, and there goes the rest of your chaff. They are very flimsy, though, the Fire Badgers. They don't have a ton of HP for a medium-sized mech. And this is why we grabbed that fortress, I think, to deal with the Tarantula. There really isn't anything else that was dealing any considerable damage to it. Oh yeah, that worked out. Fortress was able just to push through there and get that damage on the right target. Is there enough? Potentially there's enough here for HawkInSpace because of that tower drop. Yeah, I think so. This marksman's going to be able to chew through everything. And now HawkInSpace knows that there is a fortress on the field. He's going to have to deal with that. Also with just this very, very aggressive corner attack. But if there's anything that we've learned from this tournament, it's that the defensive side of things seems to be a little bit easier for most players. Or at least they've been winning more games. Tank production could be interesting here for Apooche. Given that he already has quite a few tanks, he could start spawning more with this fortress. If those tanks were to earn a level or some tech, that could have been useful. Instead, opting for the absorption module. Interesting. So this will convert some of the damage done, and it also increases the HP of the fortress, which fortresses already have a ton of HP. And I guess technically they can deal a lot of damage. Because they deal 6,000 plus damage, he should get about 5,000-ish health back per shot of the fortress. It's not gonna do that as often, you know, just because they don't shoot very often, but an interesting choice. There's the shielding on the Typhoons. I wonder if we'll see an overlap in shielding. I would be surprised, but it is a possibility. These Fire Badgers are in a really bad spot now, though. They either need to be sold or supported. I would go with sold. This fortress in the back line now serves no purpose. Now, eventually it would be able to make it in, but at that point, this battle's already over. Once these guys get the speed as well, the Typhoons are able to keep up with the Crawlers in a big way. That makes a big difference. Scorpion should be able to decimate these tanks very quickly. No, gets turned away by those Crawlers, wasting a shot. There are still more than enough Fire Badgers here to deal with this, though. And the Tarantula is still able to put out good damage. This flank is completely wasted. That's 4 units doing nothing during the battle. You don't want to see that. And they're going to be held up by these Fang. The Fang are moving pretty quick. Okay. Did we have a movement speed increase? We did. Alright. I was wondering why those Fang were being so skibbity. But, yeah, this is not going to go well. Fortresses are kind of alone and without a prayer. They will get some HP back from the absorption module, which could lead to their victory. I mean, that's a lot of HP. And the Stormcrawlers aren't really shooting at the right one. Down goes the tower. These guys are level 2. They might be able to take out one fortress. Will they be able to take out both? Maybe, is what I'm going to say. The only reason I say that is that these Fang will take a lot of damage. And they don't give a lot of HP back. Nope. Big fortress, hold strong. And that guy can become level 2 now, which is a huge increase to his HP and damage potential. In fact, it's double. Oh, I do like the additional slot. Being able to drop 3 units is very powerful. Instead, we see the improved Phoenix here from Apooche. Does he want to grab a couple units of Phoenix? Phoenix and Fortress? He could dominate the skies. There is not a lot of anti-air here. I mean, there isn't a little, but there's not a lot. Fang deal with Phoenix very well, and Marksman deal with them moderately well. Because there's 2 Phoenixes that can go poorly, these Fire Badgers need to be sold, though. They're just giving away XP at this point. Either sold or supported. Here comes the Phoenix. $300 for a unit of Phoenix. Firehawk doesn't look like he picked up anything that I'm aware of. Yeah, there's 2 units of Phoenix. They should be able to cut through what little medium/heavy armor is on the field here for HawkInSpace. Did I call him a Firehawk before? My apologies. Oh, it looks like HawkInSpace did grab the Phoenix as well. Okay. And a bunch of crawlers just to try and delay things. These crawlers are going to be in a really tough position. I don't know. I mean, it will allow the Stormcrawlers to fire maybe for 1 extra round. Ooh, good choice here. Trying to draw away all these units. There's that fortress movement. I do like that redeployment. That's why it's so strong. In case these guys got sold. And there goes the crawlers. Trying to draw everybody into a single line. Not a bad choice. Wow, this one little guy is doing so much damage. Good for that little Fire Badger. This flank is completely useless again. Just over-engaged on that side. Let's see if these Phoenix can put in any work. I don't think so. They're going to take out some tanks and things. And the shielding goes down very quickly. Well, you know what? They're actually doing alright. I'd say that the Phoenix were a little bit more valuable for HawkInSpace than they were for Apooche. The Stormcrawlers are doing okay. They've earned a level. That will help them considerably in the future. And let's see. The rest of these Phoenix should drop to the level 3 Marksman. And that should be that, though. That's a lot of damage. HawkInSpace, it looked like he was in a really good defensive spot initially, but I think Apooche kind of knows how to tighten that noose. He's realized that that flank is basically useless. Here's an interesting choice, though. Sandworm or the Rhino for both of these players would be interesting. Apooche takes the Rhino. Does he immediately sell it? Where did it go? He hasn't used the field recovery. I don't see the Rhino, though. I'm sure we'll see it in a moment. Upgrading these Typhoons is fantastic. It gives them a ton of extra HP. These shields giving them a ton of money. Or, sorry, a ton of money. A ton of health to nearby allies and themselves. Level 5 Rhino is just going to go right after that tower. It should be able to claim it very quickly. That's something that Apooche might need to be aware of. It is kind of a one-and-done type of thing here for HawkInSpace, though. Little Flame Boys will do alright. Another Typhoon. Oh, and it looks like the Rhino is just going to go in on this backline tower. I like that. Apooche has been burning the Midnight Oil in this game, meaning he has been able to access funds a little bit more quickly, but not quite quickly enough. Oh, this... Are both players going to trade towers? This Rhino, to me, feels a little bit less likely to claim the tower, just because it's got to attract a ton of units. Here comes the oil from HawkInSpace. That will slow things down a lot. More Stormcrawlers and the double shot on Scorpions will allow them to take care of the Typhoons as well. So they'll kill the shield, and then the second shot will take out the Typhoon. This looks very dangerous, though. Ooh, even a unit of crawlers on the flank there. Okay, there's a lot going on here. Who's going to claim the tower first? Oh, it looks like it's going to be the Rhino for HawkInSpace. It's very close, though. Oh, and it is Apooche as this Rhino kind of stutter steps for some reason to go after those crawlers. gets absolutely annihilated by the Phoenix. It won't even get the tower. Yeah, I think the positioning here for Apooche is just that much better. The oil did not work out, and HawkInSpace might actually find himself dead. It's going to be very close. Oh, able to make it out with just over 350. He's at 360 HP. This is looking pretty rough. The Assault Stormcallers is fun. If you want to have some aggressive Stormcallers, not very useful, but it is fun. Yeah, this is an issue. It's just too much ground to cover. If he'd been going directly for that tower, I think honestly, if he didn't direct the Rhino, it would have worked out better. And the Rhino may have been clogged up on these Fang, but maybe not. Yeah, he's going straight for the tower. I think that's the right choice. The Fang will be drawn away by these crawlers. Not a bad choice. Looks like Apooche's doing a very similar thing. Crawlers in the back line. There's a ton of marksmen here that are going to get swarmed by that. Both players sitting on most of their money. I think upgrading these Phoenix is a great idea. They're able to deal with these Fire Badgers quite well, but the Fire Badgers are clearing away just about a unit of crawlers a turn. So it's not as if they're useless. Looks like we have a missile, a concussive Scorpion here. All of a sudden, this side of the game, or this side of the board, has become very, very important. But HawkInSpace is still having trouble dealing with the amount of units over here on his right. Does he place a unit of crawlers here just to defend? Does he smell it? No, instead going with a missile. I think that will be enough. These crawlers should come in line and detonate on that missile. Apooche burning the midnight oil and grabbing all of the one-time things he can. HawkInSpace has not. HawkInSpace, man, you are playing with fire. Ooh, very good placement there on those crawlers, absorbing the Scorpion shots. Here comes the big boy. Rhino is delayed. Crawlers are delayed. Crawlers in the backline, though, are working through all of these Stormcallers. And it looks like that will be taken care of, but there's no answer to this fortress. Here comes the level 5 Rhino. Never going to make it to that tower, and that should be that for HawkInSpace. GG. We'll have to see if Apooche is our overall tournament winner, just because we did have 3 players playing. We'll find out here in a moment. Good plays, though. Man, this one marksman's got a lot of work to do. Didn't quite make it. Very interesting headbutt there. So we saw a defensive player in the tournament who won, and we saw an aggressive player who won. Huge MMRs on these guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Alrighty, and this is it. Our finals for the European tournament on a Saturday. Just one of those things. We have Apooche versus SirParr. Oh, Apooche's got a very strong hand here. I really like this. We'll have to see what he picks up. Perhaps maybe even teaching me something. Speed specialist here from SirParr. Probably the weakest specialist in the game. I'm not too sure, but at least in my eyes, it's the weakest specialist. And it looks like Apooche went with the quick supplies so that he could grab some crawlers and sledgehammers. Interesting. I wonder what his plans are for these 400. He probably saw this unit composition and thought, if I had $200, I could accelerate this into something that's much more dangerous. Being a round ahead of your opponent is pretty good. It's not really the best. I'd say it's better than your units moving slightly faster, but we will have to see. The reason unit speed isn't the strongest, one, it's very easy for it just to come out. Oh wow, Apooche actually went with Phoenix at first. He'll win the round because of it, but that's not a very common thing to see, unless he's trying to go with Vulcan Phoenix early. It is nice because it buys him a turn, but SirParr has a really strong steel ball setup. If he chooses to go into Mustang next turn, counters Apooche very hard. We'll see. I do like the Phoenix pickup. At least it's interesting. I don't know if it's the most powerful, but it definitely wins the round. And at the end of the day, you're here to win, even if it just buys you an extra round or two. Very, very dangerous center here for these poor little crawlers. They are getting all kinds of mangled. These sledgehammers will not last very long, but they should be able to take out the majority of these crawlers, which is the big thing. It's just going to make this round go that much quicker. But I think we can speed this one up a little bit, as, yeah, it's just going to come down to Phoenix winning. So, GG! And that went exactly as expected. I actually thought the Phoenix would earn a level, but they didn't. Next turn, when they do, they'll suddenly become very, very dangerous, able to one-shot everything on the field. And this is where things can get dicey here. Yeah, those two marksmen for SirParr suddenly becomes very dangerous. Apooche actually goes with the Wraith. Okay. He picked that up so quickly. And a couple of Fang. All right, I like this. Or just one unit of Fang so far here from Apooche. SirParr has a unit of Fang as well, just to defend the back line. All right. This should, I mean, it should buy him a bit of time. At least it directs the enemy forces more towards this left flank. SirParr grabs the second unit, and Apooche is really leaning towards the Air Force. Okay, now the aerial units in Mechabellum tend to be fairly flimsy, but pack a good punch. Given that Apooche doesn't really have much support on the ground, I'm surprised he's leaning so heavily into the air, but maybe that's the idea, is to build this kind of steel box and then pop a Vulcan here just to be able to absorb a bunch of damage and get rid of all the chaff so that these Phoenix can get online and deal with things like the Arclight a little bit quicker. We'll have to see. The Wraith is going to be fairly uncontested for a while. 15,000 HP, roughly 5,000 a shot, so it should take a little while for these guys to actually knock out the Wraith. And luckily the Wraith can deal with chaff units fairly well, given that it shoots multiple times, but already it's taking damage. Missile comes down, ooh, and that's a good missile. Able to take out a lot of that chaff. Here comes the next round of chaff here for Apooche. Crawler's coming in at a pretty good spot. There goes, oh, all the arc lights are going to drop. Oh, that is devastating. That means that these marksmen are alone and without a prayer. Really good second wave of crawlers there. That made a huge difference. That missile also made a huge difference for Apooche. And SirParr takes his second loss, but he's still ahead on HP. He's got to bring it back. His units are quick, and that honestly seems to be hurting him more than anything. Man. Oopsies. Sorry about that. SirParr picks up the heavy armor. Apooche, heavy armor as well. Yeah, I was going to say, is that going to go on the Wraith? Suddenly bringing that up to 27,000 HP is pretty daunting. Fortress comes down, anti-air barrage, pretty good. Not great against the Wraith, but pretty good, specifically against these Phoenix. Wraiths take forever and a day to kill a fortress. Just in case you ever want to use Wraiths as your main damage dealer, they are not great anti-giant units. They just don't hit very hard. 405 damage a shot. That's not much. Once they get to like level 3, especially with some good upgrades, they can really pack a punch. But until then, giants are a very good counter to Wraiths. Yeah. Even giants that don't shoot up, just because the Wraith takes so long to kill them. We do see more and more chaff here for Apooche. It looks like SirParr was only really able to play out the giant. Not really much else that can be done there. It's a big unlock. It's very expensive. He did have to recycle some units. Oh, that's got to feel good. Fang taking an entire shot of the fortress so that these sledgehammers can start dealing damage. And the Wraith's able to just start plucking away. Okay, not terrible. This Arclight is online, but still just slightly out of position. I think a lot of these crawlers are still going to make it in because of that. Yes, the majority of the crawlers are able to make it in. That's actually slowing things down a lot here. These level 2 marksmen are being taken out by sledgehammers. That's not what you want to see. And now the Phoenix are able to get in and deal the damage necessary to kill off this extremely strong fortress. Marksmen again are having to deal with this second wave of Fang. Go, little sledgehammer, go. I didn't quite make it. Dying to one Fang, but it's okay. SirParr is now below or subpar. That's unfortunate for him. Let's see what we have here. Ooh, the javelin's strong, but it's not enough to kill this heavy boy. Not that the fortress was doing too much. SirParr does skip, and the Apooche skips as well. 2 fortresses coming down. Phoenix could we see more, or 2 Phoenix enough? If the Phoenix were to have range and position themselves right here, they could potentially snipe this tower. Again, it's a one and done type of thing, but if it wins you around quickly, it may be worthwhile. That is a lot of marksmen coming down here for SirParr. And it looks like more Phoenix. Yeah, I think Apooche's realized that, hey, I might be able to go snipe out that tower very quickly. We'll have to see. These Fang are moving a little bit quicker than they normally should. Even just having that little bit of support, though, may be enough. I do like the range on these arc lights. I think that's a great choice. He is being overrun just a little bit. Ooh, and crawlers in the back line. Okay, that will distract these Fang. I don't think they'll be able to deal any damage, but it will give these Phoenix enough time to hopefully deal with the arc light and then grab the tower. There's going to be a very big push here. A lot of money was spent in order to win this kind of gridlock that SirParr and Apooche have on the left-hand flank. I think it's smart that Apooche's then now pushing into the other flank, as well as both attack and defense upgrades. Quite strong. Sledgehammers have not received an upgrade. I don't think they're going to receive an upgrade. They're simply here to help get rid of chaff and take damage. Here comes the Phoenix. Are they going to be quick enough? Down goes the arc light. Oh, I think they're going to get online. They only need 2 shots to take out the tower, and down it goes. That is going to be huge, because now these units are taking so much extra damage, and the Phoenix are able to close the gaps. Wow. Great play here by Apooche. Kind of had my idea in mind, but played it much smarter than I would have. I would have just given my Phoenix range and put one right at the front and hope for the best. Very silly. Don't do that. The Phoenix still might die, though. Now it's going to make it. He's got some friends. Good backup. It normally takes 5 or 6 Fang in order to kill a single Phoenix. That's when they can DPS race the Phoenix down. Oh. What's the most bang for your buck? Probably the Sabertooth. But that level 2 Vulcan could be quite strong for either player. It looks like SirParr agrees with me. What does Apooche pick up? The Sabertooth. Oh, and he's going to keep it. It has 87,000. Let's just call it 88,000 HP. I will take a long time for these units to take it out. Okay. We see more marksmen coming down here. Yeah, these Fang are going to need to be level 2 if they hope to survive these crawlers. If the crawlers do end up getting replicate, they would win this, but they're dead. They're very, very dead. The arc light is going to be too much for them. And this is where I'm getting a little bit nervous for Apooche. He has a very interesting army, but I don't feel as though it's a very concise army. Its vast majority is tied up in very flimsy units and chaff. There's I guess two units that could be considered heavyweight at this point, but that's really about it. It's really Apooche's fantastic positioning that is buying him a lot of time here. In fact, I think SirParr's overreacting to this, but possibly having this another unit of chaff won't hurt him. I think having a couple units of chaff in this backline would make a big difference here for SirParr. Because again, it's Apooche's positioning that's really winning this for him. Wow, these marksmen though. That's a big damage change. Oh, okay, good job on the Phoenix. Actually able to make that work. They are a dunce, but yeah, I think the marksmen finally have the ranged increase that they needed to start taking out some of these units. It's not going to be enough, thanks to this extremely heavy Sabertooth, but it is good to see that some of these Phoenix are starting to drop here for SirParr. I guess against Apooche. I don't know. I kind of root for the underdog every once in a while. He's getting it good. Poor SirParr. In the danger zone now. Really under 100 HP at this point in the game is quite dangerous. Oh, barrier here for SirParr. I think that's worthwhile. Yep, all of a sudden this Vulcan becomes much more dangerous. Will we see the Acid Blast for Apooche? There is a lot of giants on the field, but I don't feel as though the acid will really take them out quickly enough. The nuke is interesting, but very expensive. So is the Lightning Storm. I think Apooche's got to be nervous about that Lightning Storm. Oh, actually picking up the nuke. Yeah, Apooche's just going for the win here. He doesn't deal a huge amount of damage per round. So I wonder if that's worthwhile. Oh, wow, and the Fang. Okay, fortresses now deploying Fang. It could buy more time for these fortresses. I'm super surprised that I haven't seen the anti-air on these fortresses. I don't really like the anti-air barrage on the fortress very much. I don't think it does a lot of damage. They tend to miss a lot, at least when I'm playing the game. but it is a decent way of getting rid of Phoenixes. It normally takes 1 or 2 barrages to fully get rid of them, but it's not a bad choice. Okay, more and more chaff units here for Apooche. I like these crawlers in the back line. They are going to be taken out fairly quickly, but we'll see if it's enough. You know, Apooche has just basically played 4 units this entire game. He's unlocked quite a few due to drops, but there haven't really been that many. Shield's gone, nuke's going to come down, and that should be that for the majority of the units on this flank. 3, 2, 1. Blammo. Let's get a nice screenshot of this. Whoa! Yeah, that stinks. Well, that's that. We have our tournament winner. Great job, Apooche. I think that nuke was the right choice here. He should have enough damage to finish it out. The nuke is very much a I need to win the game right now, or I'm so far ahead I can win the game right now choice. And I think he was in that position. You know, even if he doesn't win here, he's very, very far ahead. Is it enough? Ooh! Almost. Almost. So that 350 was wasted, quote unquote, because SirParr is still in the game. You know, it did wipe it out, but maybe that slight economic advantage that SirParr has now will be enough. I don't think so. Apooche's very much just going for the kill here. Taking out this sniper, not a bad choice. The fortress is okay. Wow. It's not very often you see a level 3 Wraith. A Wraith that's upgraded all the way from level 1 to level 3, I should say. Here come the Mustang. I was waiting for the Mustang to pop out. Mustang are very good in this are against this army just because they'll be able to, 1, shoot against the majority of these units, but 2, help clear away some of this chaff. As it's just this really great positioning of chaff units that's allowed Apooche to progress this far. Ooh, a range increase on the Mustang. Okay. Extra cash. Extra range again. And what is this choice here? Floating artillery. I like that. Turns the Wraiths significantly more or makes them significantly more dangerous. That basically 50% damage increase. The Vulcan will not perish from the tungsten rod, but he will most likely get caught by it. And that might be enough to put the nail in the coffin of this poor Vulcan very quickly. There isn't really anything that can deal with this level 6 Sabertooth right now. I'm surprised that Sabertooth even received an upgrade. At 105,000 HP, yeah, there isn't really anything on the field that can deal with that. The marksman could, if given more than enough time, but that's very unlikely. Here comes the rod. It does knock out the majority of this Vulcan's HP. The fortress will be able to take a ton of these hits, though, and regen from it. Yeah, he's going to hold this flank very, very well. Here come the Mustang on the other flank. Able to hold significantly longer. I don't really think there's anything that can deal with this Sabertooth, though. Alright, now oh, the fortress finally drops. I was going to say, now the fortress might have a little bit more time, but the Sabertooth hits very, very hard. Oh, it's kind of looking like a comeback, though, for SirParr. I think he's got this round. That was unexpected, but well-earned. Mustang making a huge difference. Able to just plink away a ton of those little chaff units. SirParr bought a round. It may have been the nuke, it may not have, but again, another deployable was used for Apooche, and he didn't win the game. Farseers, Scorpions, Overlords, oh my, with the possibility of some Typhoons in the next couple of hours. I'm just thinking about the hurricane that's about to hit us. Apooche thinks the Scorpion is the right choice. SirParr says Typhoons. I think both players are correct for their circumstance, because the Scorpions will allow Apooche to get through these giants a little bit quicker. Typhoons will provide a good amount of support against both ranged units and a ton of this chaff. Do we see the shields on the Typhoons? It's less expensive than buying it on the fortresses. Oh. So what's Apooche doing here? He's burning the midnight oil to grab range. Okay. Looks like we might have shields on the Fang and some more marksmen here from SirParr. Okay, both players are basically out of money. We did see these Mustang receive upgrades as well for SirParr. Oh, this is a very unfortunate missile. It's probably going to go off against the Fang. It may not, but it probably will, which obviously the Fang will be able to deflect that quite nicely. Cool. Basically the same status quo. Few extra crawlers are being added on here for Apooche. I think that's a wise decision. SirParr says, hey, I want to get rid of some of these units quickly. Not a bad choice. They both had a little bit of extra money. Blammo. Down go the tanks, and it was the Fang that took that shot. Which means that, will the majority of these Mustang live? No, but some. But some. Will those some be enough? I think so. I think so. And it looks like SirParr is making his way up the field ever so slowly, as these Mustang are able to provide the support that these marksmen need in order to deal damage. Even some crawlers on the tower, and that is Apooche's tower gone. More and more marksmen lining up to take pot shots at these Phoenix and Scorpions, and that's that. Wow! Has SirParr become the comeback kid, holding on by just the skin of his teeth? This is incredible. He's in a really difficult position. Obviously, one loss, and that's it. $100 barrier? Is it worth it? Probably not. Yeah, absorption module for Apooche. Putting that on this super heavy Sabertooth will be very powerful. Does SirParr go with the absorption module as well? Yes. Who's he putting it on, though? It does work very well on fast attack units as well that have some HP to them, like the Typhoons. But the Typhoons can be overwhelmed very quickly. Where did it go? I heard him place it, but I don't see it. Ah, on these Typhoons here. Okay. Big upgrades for the Mustang. Some more crawlers for SirParr. Apooche goes with the randomized crawlers. I do like this loose formation. It does help the crawlers kind of just come in all the time. Once you have enough of them, it really does feel like there's just an unending amount of crawlers, and that is very, very powerful for these sniper-based units. Looks like SirParr wants more of these fortresses spawning shielded Fang. Quite powerful. The Fang themselves are doing all right. You know, they're not earning a ton of kills. In fact, most of them have 0 or a few, but they are absorbing a ton of damage. And having these guys pop out more Fang that can take those hits for them is very powerful. Mass shielding. Okay. It'll help the fortress for a moment. Level 2 Scorpion, though, should be able to, yeah, basically one-shot all of those things. And look how slowly these crawlers are coming in now. Able to just kind of trundle in when necessary. These guys are doing a great job, though. They're healing so much. That is great for these Typhoons. And here comes a big wave of chaff. Is there enough chaff clear here? I don't think so. I think those extra crawlers in the backline is making a big difference here for SirParr. Tower's going to drop again. The snipers are online. These snipers have all been receiving upgrades slowly but surely. They're taking out very important units, and now they're dealing a ton of damage. Wow! Another win for SirParr. The game is basically even. What is that, like 3 or 4 rounds, one in a row? That's insane. Alright, looking at the board, SirParr has a little bit more options if he chooses the smoke bomb. Just because he could suddenly make these fortresses all have shields, it's probably not worth it this late in the game, but is an option. Instead, choosing the photon emission. Interesting. Am I reading this correctly? It says photon emission, but those are definitely crawlers. Yeah, underground threat. We'll see in the recording how that looks, but hey, having some more crawlers in the backline is great. Smoke at the front isn't really going to do too much. Well, actually, I guess it will, because we saw those shields drop so quickly. I think that the fortresses are not going to receive shields, nor do I think there'll be a lot of extra shielding here. More Mustang just to help deal with some of these crawlers that are slowly coming in. And it looks like Apooche can still play at least one more unit. Place your bets now. Honestly, I think that an Arclight would be a good choice here, just because it would help deal with some of this stuff, but maybe the shielding is more useful. Man, these fortresses have not done a lot. 80 kills, 83 kills, 62 kills, and not a whole lot of damage done. A lot of this is coming down to shooting Fang, so not the best. Let's see if the shield drops. Yep, shield drops before the smoke. All these units are going to have to move in. but they were already kind of planning on moving in anyways. They're not really... It's not really changing their step patterns very much. I think this is more than enough Mustang in the center, though, as they're able to just completely evaporate all of the chaff here that was on the field for Apooche. And here comes this mighty, mighty fortress, able to walk in with a bit of HP. Not enough, but the tower will drop. It has not received a health upgrade in a little bit. And that's that. Is it going to be enough? Probably. These marksmen are very powerful. And that's that. Wow! Great job here, SirParr. I had him counted out at like round 5, but hey, never give up. Heart of the Tiger. GG. Thank you so much to everybody who watched. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.